2 super chats here. Matthew Hammond for 20 says, did you see that Alex Jones said that the feds were seizing the InfoWars building and selling off all their equipment? He did not expect them to be on the air tomorrow as they were putting locks on the door. Really? Did that happen for real?
I saw his sign-off video talking about it. Yeah, he was basically in tears. I don't know if that's related to the lawsuit.
How can they do that?
That's you got to pay up at some point.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Although we don't know. I mean, it's Alex Jones, so he could say tomorrow, miraculously, we figured it out. We beat back the globalists again, Chad.
I chewed my way through the door.
We got the globalists out of there.
Dangerous times,
but it's a real possibility. A real possibility.
We're living in
How
some
long ago
dangerous
was
times.
that? How long ago was the verdict in that? Well over a
which
year
one?
ago,
Because
right?
he had the 2 cases. The Connecticut and Texas.
The Connecticut one.
Back in 2023. Back in
yeah.
And it's funny because his attorney on that one, Norm Pattis, they just now, because the judge in that one tried to suspend his bar license for like 6 months, and he has been fighting since then, and they're just now agreeing, like, yeah, we shouldn't suspend you. This wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
But it took him, another 9 months on his own to clear his name. So just shows you how bad it is out there.
Yep.
Well, listen, when Trump says, if it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone, this is what he's talking about. And I was saying that since the very first time they kicked Trump off of Twitter, when they kicked him off social media, that was the president at that time. And I was like, I don't think people are seeing how big that is.
A lot of people are too blinded by their dislike of him to understand that a precedent was being set when they did something like that. And now we're seeing that with what just happened the other day, right? Like a lot of people, like I kind of wonder sometimes if you're like in an echo chamber of your own making, you're like, what does the average person really think about something like this happening? And I think that a lot of people are just kind of blinded by dislike for him without actually paying attention to just what a bad precedent sets if they can do that to somebody of his stature that's going to bring in such a high amount of votes, that they can do that to somebody who was just Joe Schmo 32 who doesn't matter to the public. They are very much in trouble right now.
Absolutely.
Man, the Trump stuff is...
Brett, I will say you have no idea the amount of... It's very funny because even though I'm on the right, I think that like the decarceral state, decreasing prisons, doing all those things that people would say like, oh, you're a lefty for that. No, I have those personal feelings. But it's funny, many people on the right are like, oh, wow, I guess Law and Order isn't all it's cracked up to be. Well, in the same time, many on the left are now send a guy to prison for the first time for a first-time offender. It's very, very, very funny what we're seeing now.
Well, I did just see that like Alvin Bragg, he diminished like 60% of felonies down to misdemeanors just in 2023. So that just shows the political motivations of it right now.
Oh, a lot of them.
This everything going on right now is so wild. YouTube is so weird with talking about this shit. So I don't know, but I'm telling you, this Trump shit is going to backfire on them so hard.
It already is.
You see people.
It's already done.
You see a lot of people saying, I'm definitely voting now, and I think they are. The one thing that's increased big time with Trump what's really woken up a lot of people, especially like the black community, is him getting railroaded by the justice system.
Yep.
And it's gonna blackfire. His black vote has gone up big time compared to where it was before.
Wait, Flash. I know you made a slip, but I think what you just said is the new meme, and I think you're totally right.
Hilarious is they're sitting out there asking black people like, "Would you vote for a felon?" It's like, bitch, my mama's a felon.
Wait, Flash, you just accidentally uttered what might be like the new Trump slogan. I'm not kidding. Blackfire.
Oh, shit.
Oh, did I say Blackfire?
No.
Yeah, that was a slip up. I meant backfire.
No, I know what you meant, Flash, but I think, Flash, dude, I think you just nailed it. It is a Blackfire. I even made a joke a couple of days ago. I'm like, do you realize that they're going to turn Trump into somebody that has been shoved through the justice system?
He's an outlaw now.
Yeah, it's like, do you realize, I bet people, I'm like, this is going to make him even more popular with a lot of the black population you watch. And I used to work in political campaigns on the side for years. And I'm like, this is exactly the kind of thing. When you go this hard negative on a campaign trail, if you're so desperate and there's nothing left for you to do but to try to just destroy your opponent, you don't do this unless you're so far behind in the polls, period. And this is old school. This is like political campaigning 101. You don't do this kind of stuff to a guy like Trump unless you're so far behind that this is your last only shot to try to get something to where your negatives, you can drive the negatives up on your opponent, in this case Trump, to try to depress his people from turning out because you're otherwise going to get destroyed. I don't even think it worked because within 24 hours, Donald Trump raised $54 million or whatever he put out. It's something like, it smashes the old record by like 3 times or something stupid like that. And his approval rating, according to the Daily Mail, went up 6 points. It's just, this was a disaster for the other side to do this.
You got to imagine how they would have reacted in 2020, like just before the election, had Trump like went after Hillary and you know, the whole thing with the laptop and all that kind of stuff would come out. Because that's my whole thing, you know, is like, I can't believe that more people on the right aren't stepping in and saying something, because this is an unprecedented thing in the history of America, let alone the world. And the fact that this just happened like this, I mean, everything you guys are saying is correct. And it's going to be hilarious on this cowards.
Plus, the political right is full of cowards. Especially,
they don't want him either. That's the problem.
Conservacucks.
Yeah,
that's
what
they don't
want him either because he's not easily controlled, and that's why they don't. That's why they don't want him.
That's exactly why they don't. They
also don't want him because he's antithetical to them. It's the same reason. You know what? He said a lot of shit about McCain, but you know what? McCain was a little bitch because it wasn't being done his way anymore, and the neocons are upset because we don't get to, you know. Oh, you mean shit? Our shares of Raytheon won't go up. This isn't good.
McCain is a warmongering piece of shit.
I know,
just like a lot of them.
I know he was, but I'm just saying he was, you know, he let his, you know, scuffed tampon get the best of him when he's like, yeah, I'm going to thumb it down and fuck everybody to fuck Trump. It's like, thank you. Thank you for that.
You know, they've been attacking Trump for so long, you know, and when you're talking about the black community, you know, a lot of the black community have been watching this for a long time, you know, and it just seems like it's so apparent. They're so afraid of Trump. Because they keep launching these attacks, and a lot of them have produced no fruit. So they just keep on going at him and at him and at him. And you're just looking at him like, what are you afraid of? And then you start listening to him, you know, and you when you actually start listening to him instead of the sound bites on the news, because you get curious. What are they so afraid of? So it's having the opposite effect. It makes you want to hear what it is that he's saying that's making these people so afraid. And then it becomes clear that the other guy is a liar. He's a manipulator. And the more you hear him speak, the more obvious it becomes. You know, I'm talking about Brandon now. You know what I mean? So it's like you're listening to this guy and you're just like, no, something is wrong. And it becomes more and more insulting. Like, these people really think we're stupid, talking about, in the Bronx, black kids don't know how to use, they don't even know what computers are. Really? This is what you think of us. Oh my God, that was
so bad. It was.
That's Kathy.
If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
I know.
Right,
Mark, you know, I think I think the wake-up call a few weeks ago, and tell me if I'm wrong, was that video when the trial was starting and Trump, like in his entourage, went into Harlem. And there was videos out there of like Harlem had packed the streets where Trump was. And there were kids, like 8, 9, 10-year-old kids out there screaming into the camera, "We love you, Trump. We love you, Trump." I mean, at that moment, that had to absolutely terrify the Democrat Party. I mean, it had to just, that had to just absolutely wreck them.
That was really interesting.
You know what he said that was brilliant? What he said that was brilliant was so simple. Maybe a couple of years ago, he said to the black community, "What have you got to lose?"
Yes.
And then you start looking around. You're looking around the neighborhood. Listen, nobody wants to live in that shit. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people look at, you know, what's going on in some of these inner cities, and you're like, I wouldn't want to live there. Hell, they don't want to live there either. But
they can't get out. They don't have the money.
Yeah. under
you
the
see
same
the,
politicians, the shit just gets worse and worse. What have you got to lose? You got to try something different, man.
Did you see what the way that they were trying to manipulate it, at least through Twitter and on the news, was they were saying they were trying to downplay the size of that event by showing news footage from like 7 hours before. And that's really my problem with it. Like when it comes to politics, I just tend to think that all politicians are scummy on the outset and that the less you trust them, the better. But it's the evils of the media that bothers me more than anything. And that was just a reminder of how much you have to hate the mainstream press when you see them trying to manipulate it like that.
Yeah.